Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Friends, on behalf of Param Vedanta, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you for the 13th session of the Mananam Series. Session 13 and 14 are on mantras of resonance in Kathopanishad. We are familiar with the word resonance as in physics. I am sure all of us remember the experiment of the tuning fork. But mantras of resonance in Upanishads usually mean mantras that have a special vibrational power, both in sound and in meaning. They are not merely philosophical teachings, but have a special vibrational power. They transform the seeker through their sound, rhythm, and truth. They are meant to be chanted repeatedly, meditated upon, and internalized to align oneself with Brahman. So whether you are tuning a veena or a sitar or tuning yourself, resonance is about finding that perfect frequency where everything flows effortlessly. Dr. Timapa Hegde sir shall present and explain these valuable mantras to help us in our spiritual journey. This shall be followed by an engaging quiz by Dr. Anupama to help us reflect upon and internalize these teachings. Over to Dr. Timapa Hegde sir.
Thank you, Shiv, for giving us a nice overview of what is meant by resonance in Vedanta. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharyaya Nachiketase cha. We have completed the first chapter of Kathopanishad. And for the next two classes, we will look at some of the important mantras that we have studied. And having studied that, to allow these mantras to resonate in our mind so that it gives us its deeper meaning and how it can help us to transform. We are so fortunate that we are able to study the most wonderful Kathopanishad, where our teacher is none other than Yamadharmaraja. When Yamadharmaraja is seen as a Brahma Vidya Acharya, and all of us are trained to give the highest reverence to a Brahma Vidya Acharya. From now on, we need to see Yamadharmaraja no longer as the god of death whom we normally fear, but as Brahma Vidya Acharya who is instructing us. And just like when we study the Bhagavad Gita, we have to be Kaunteya or Arjuna so that we get the message from Sri Krishna directly. Yamadharmaraja now becomes the direct teacher and from whom we are all like Nachiketa. And so we have had this great samvada with Yamadharmaraja, and so the fear of death is really not gone. On the other hand, a great opportunity to meet an enlightened master, a great devata, the controller of time, and what a blessing it is to be in samvada, in discussion with a person like Yamadharmaraja. Sri Krishna has seen the greatness of this Upanishad and has chosen the maximum number of mantras to be brought into the Bhagavad Gita. And that is another reason for the importance of this Kathopanishad. The word Kathopanishad, now if you see the title picture of Swami Chinmayananda's book on Kathopanishad, you see this picture. One picture you see of a pendulum, which signifies time. Time means Kala Tattva. Kala also means death. Kala also represents Yamadharmaraja, who represents time. Now, Kathopanishad is an opportunity for us to move from time to timelessness to eternity. And eternity is symbolized by Omkara. And that is why when we study Kathopanishad, we have to shift from that understanding that I'm here as body mind for the time being, but I as Atma, I have been there from the very beginning, if there is a beginning, and I will continue to be there till the very end because there is no end. We will study, therefore, 119 mantras spread over 2 chapters. Each of them have got 3 vallis, and so 6 vallis each. We have completed the first 3 vallis, and we will just take a look into some of the important mantras. The first, this Shanti Pata. Each time we study Kathopanishad or Taittiriya Upanishad, particularly the Brahmananda Valli and the Bhrigu Valli, we will be chanting this Shanti Pata. This Shanti Pata is chanted in any other master-student interaction. So among the Shanti Patas, this is one of the most popular Shanti Patas whenever there is a student and a teacher interaction in the Vedantic tradition. Om Sahana Vavatu. Om representing God. Saha means this togetherness, this body of master and student. Avatu, please protect my master and the student. That means protect all of us. Saha now Bunaktu. This collectivity of master and student, this experience of learning, let us enjoy. The word Bunaktu means to relish, means to enjoy. And that is why, because of that enjoyment that has come, this mantra is sometimes chanted before we have food also. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Viryam means, let me put my efforts so that this interaction can put me on a different orbit altogether. And because this is an intellectual process, we are asking for tejas. Like in Gayatri mantra, we say Prachodaya. May my intellect be enlightened. I will have to mute somebody. Tejas Vina, and then may there be no quarrel between us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, this is the regular meaning. Swami Paramarthananda, our Guru, whenever he is talking about this mantra, he says, whenever we pray this mantra, we are asking for 4 boons. Now, I was not able to see where are those 4 boons and what are those 4 boons. He says we are asking for Jnanam, Jnana Nishta, Prayatna, and Shraddha. Now, this is a totally different interpretation. This is the cryptic meaning. Whenever he's going into Bhashyam, he gives this meaning. And what is the meaning? How do we get Jnanam, Jnana Prapti? Let us see. Now, when we ask for protection, Swamiji says the highest form of protection is to understand I am not this body, but I am Atma. Whenever we are in a Brahma Vidya class, we understand that I am not one body, but I am Atma Brahma. Let this knowledge be so ingrained in us. And once I know I am Atma, then body requires protection, but I am no longer the body. And so I am beyond protection. So when you ask for protection means give me the highest form of protection, which is Jnanam, and therefore I really don't need any form of protection. Once I am established in this knowledge, then what happens? Bunaktu, I relish. Why? Now because I am a Jivan Muktaha. I enjoy every moment of my life because this knowledge is now a blessing to me. And then the other two meanings are for Prayatna and for Shraddha. That means let me understand that whatever my teacher says, whatever the scripture says is gospel truth. And I make an effort to have this understanding. We come back to the first Valli, and in the beginning there is the story of Vajashravas performing a great yaga, and his son Nachiketa is observing, but then he sees a certain flaw that when his father is giving the dakshina, he is giving away things which are not so useful for him and possibly retaining the good cows. And so he innocently asks this question, if you're giving everything away, whom are you giving me to? And when he says it for the third time, his father, out of anger, he says, I give you to death. And the word becomes true. Nachiketa moves to the Yamaloka, but Yamadharmaraja is not there. For 3 days and 3 nights, he has to wait. And when he reappears, he treats him very well and he says, I will give you 3 boons. Now, all of us remember Kathopanishad for the 3 boons. And what are the 3 boons that Kathopanishad gives? And that is what we will remember in this story. Now, how does it make a meaning for us? Just give me a moment. Now, we have to convert the 3 boons to the 3 debts. And through this understanding, let us see that I have, before I drop this body, there are 3 debts. I have to fulfill Pitrarina, the debt to my parents, the debt to my community, and Acharya Rina. How do I fulfill my debt to my parents? By living a life in such a way that I bring honor and glory to my parents. The best way to live a life is to bring glory to your own parents. Lokarina means to live a life of contribution. Every day, give more than what you receive. And finally, Acharya Rina. The Acharya Rina is I am here to attain to my highest potential, and that is Parama Purushartha or Moksha. So these are the 3 debts, and this should be my something that I need to work on. Now, I have selected a few mantras. As I said, these mantras should be remembered all the time, because if you remember this mantra all the time, Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushya. So the third boon, he asks Yamadharmaraja, imagine now we have an interaction with Yamadharmaraja, who is the god of death. And as Nachiketa, all of us are asking, I have a doubt. When a person dies, some people say something remains. Some people say he does not remain. You are the Lord of death. Can you tell me the mystery of death? What really happens? And if you go into the second chapter, Yamadharmaraja gives you more details of really what happens. And that is why we need a good knowledge of Tattva Bodha about the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body, and so on. Now, to analyze, what is Nachiketa's question? Nachiketa, that means all of us, when we have a samvada with Yamadharmaraja, who has come face to face through this samvada, through this opportunity of studying the Upanishad, we are going to ask, now, whenever somebody dies, I want you to feel that experience when you have visited the body of someone who's no longer there. You are offering respects to the body. People say he has gone, but the body is still there. And we know Atma cannot go anywhere. What has that left the body? What has made this person who was still yesterday so alive, vibrant, communicating, now he has gone? What has gone? Our scriptures say when a person dies, there is a separation between the subtle body and the gross body. Atma will be always there. The body is here, But what separates is the subtle body is gone. And if I can give a modern day example, it is like the SIM card, which has all the impressions about my identity. It has about all my karmas, all my transactions, all my vasanas, my deep impressions, all my knowledge. That is why in the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked this question. He says, supposing I have a premature death, that means if I die before I get moksha, will it be like I'm neither here nor there? Sri Krishna immediately gives words of reassurance. He says, not to worry, Arjuna. You will continue from where you have stopped. That means all the sadhanas and all these exercises that we have done will put you on a different pedestal. And that is why all of us today are of the products of so many janmas of positive sadhana, and that is what has brought us to the Guru, and that is what has brought us to the scriptures. In Tattva Bodha, and now I'm reminding you this because we are going into the second chapter. And in the first Valli of the second chapter itself, if you have to understand mantra 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you will not understand if you don't know what is gross body, what is subtle body, what is causal body. What happens when the original consciousness reflects on the Vishwa, Virat, Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, Prajna, Ishvara. So all these basics have to be brought in because that discussion, because essentially this is the question, Yeyam Prite, when somebody dies, what exactly happens? And the whole of Kathopanishad is an answer to this one question of Nachiketa. Now, this being a very profound question, Yamadharmaraja has the answer, but then he wants to know whether the student is qualified. So he tempts him with various forms of temptations. He gives him all the wealth in the world and all the things which we normally value. And what are the things we normally value? In the Upanishads, it is said three things we value. They are called Putreshana, Vitteshana, and Lokeshana. Putreshana is the desire to have offsprings. Vitteshana is the desire to have a lot of wealth. Lokeshana is the desire to have control, power over this world or in other world that we may go to. And when all these temptations were given freely to Nachiketa, and when he gets an opportunity, he speaks, remember this mantra 26, very great mantra. He says, Shobhava. That becomes that great word, Shobhava. And it has been broken up into Shwa and Abhava. Shwa means tomorrow. Abhava means it is not there tomorrow. Just like Ashwata, Shwa, Ashwat, it is not there tomorrow. Shobhava. So he says, thank you very much. But then whatever you're going to give me is there only for the time being. If you have something permanent, I want that. All this dance and this heavenly girls and your music, you please keep it for yourself because I want Atma. I want something permanent. I do not want the Anatma. And that is a bold decision given by Nachiketa. And all of us have to have that kind of mind. Then he gives another na vittena tarpaneya manushya. That is mantra number 27. Very often quoted. Why? Tarpaneya means tripti. Vitta means wealth. Yamadharma, the little boy, Nachiketa says, the human mind is such, however amount of money or wealth they give, tripti cannot happen. That fulfillment cannot happen. And we know from our experience also. Does it mean that money is useless? He says something else. He says, I have had this great opportunity to see you. Adraksham Tva. I have had an opportunity to see you. And all of us as students of Kathopanishad have had an opportunity to interact with Yamadharmaraja. And what Nachiketa says, see, since I have gone to see a person like you, will I go back empty handed? I'm sure I will be blessed with whatever wealth I need in my life. And also, Jivishyami, I'm going to live a good life. I will lead a long life because I know, having met you and seeing you as Brahma Vidya Acharya, that all of us are going to have as much money as you require in this life, because money is also important. Although money cannot give fulfillment, we are going to be blessed with as much money as you require. One. Second is, you are going to live a good life and a long life. About that, this blessing is there for all of us. This is my conviction. With that, we finished the first Valli. The second Valli of Kathopanishad, one of the best in all the Upanishads. And that is why this class and in the next class, I'm going to highlight the second Valli so much, because it is worth going through some of these mantras again and again. From mantra 1 to mantra 13, you are speaking about the greatness of the student, the greatness of the teacher, and the greatness of Vedanta. Which means, why did I put this picture of small Nachiketa and Yamadharmaraja? When you see this picture, I want you to see yourself as Nachiketa. And I want you to see Yamadharmaraja as a teacher sitting in front of you. Now, the student is great. Each one of you who's listening is extraordinary, because you have done so much of punya to be able to come to an Vedantic class. Now, these are not my words. These are the words of the Vedas. And the words of the Vedas, which will come a little later, are gospel truth. Second is, a Brahma Vidya Acharya is one of the greatest things ever in the whole world. And all of us have an opportunity to interact with gurus like Swami Paramarthananda. And in this teaching, it is Yamadharmaraja. And I want, just like when we see Bhagavad Gita, you see Krishna speaking to you, Sri Krishna speaking to us. I want you to see Yamadharmaraja directly speaking to you through these words. All right, let us see. Now, my first question to all of you is, how does the second Valli begin? What is that opening mantra? Do you remember what is that opening mantra? Because this mantra is so important. Because this mantra helps you to decide the future course of your life. And what is that future course of the life? That mantra talks of Shreyas and Preyas. From now on, am I choosing the highest goal, or am I choosing Yogakshema? Yogakshema is pursuit of wealth, preservation of wealth, which we have been doing for lives together. Now, once we understand, now I've had an opportunity to meet Yamadharmaraja. For me, wealth is not a problem. Life is not a problem. Security is not a problem. And therefore, let me now be a student of Kathopanishad. Let me choose the Shreyas path. From now on, be clear of two things. What is my goal and what is my means? If this is clear, the rest of Kathopanishad, the whole of the chariot example, what is that I really want? What do I want? I want that Vishnu Pada. I want to reach that state of being one with Vishnu. I want to have that state of Purnatvam. And what is the means? How do I reach there? For that, I need a guru. I need the Shastra. It is through Guru and Shastra I will be able to attain. And if my goal is clear and if my means are clear, that is what this mantra says, Shreyasya or Preyasya. Are you choosing the path which everybody goes to, which is the path of Yogakshema, or are you choosing that path which the scriptures guide you? The problem is, these are two diagonally opposite paths. You cannot put your foot on both. You have to choose either Shreyas or you choose Preyas. Preyas is the path of preserving your wealth, working for your daily security, fulfilling all your responsibilities of human being. Shreyas is the path of Jnana Yoga. One is the path of karma. The path of karma is the path of Hridaya Granthi. Why do I go in this path? Because I'm still not convinced of who's my true nature. I feel I'm an ordinary human being. I have avidya and therefore karma and therefore karma and therefore punarjanma. And that is the path of. Now, remember this mantra number 5. And what is this mantra 5? It says avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha pandita manyamane dhandramyamanam pariyanta mudaha ande naiva niyamana yatha andaha. What is this mantra saying? All of us are intelligent. And the problem is, the more intelligent you are, we get into what is called the justification trap. Whenever I speak some of these things to people, sometimes when people are frank enough, they will tell you, it's okay for you, you know, but you don't know my life. You do not know real life. In real life, you don't know the kind of problems that we are going through. Now, what we are trying to do, or what we are caught up in, I want to see. It is my mind which is the block, which is giving you a justification why I continue to do what I'm doing and not make that radical shift from what I have always been doing, that pleasant path, and not moving to this path, that path which I do not know, which a path which very, very few people take, that path of Shreyas. So we justify and we continue, and so Vedantic pursuit becomes only an intellectual pursuit. It has not really transformed. And this mantra, avidyayam, I am full of ignorance. And then what happened? I justify it. And I tell them, not only I justify, I propagate that. What do scriptures say? They say human birth is a great opportunity. And in human birth, 3 things are extremely difficult to get. To be a human being who has a desire for mumukshu. How this idea came into our mind, I do not know. But it has come into a minuscule percentage of the human population. And we have got a guru like this. When we have a guru, when we have this desire, and we have got a human birth, which is finite, that means as long as I'm in this body, mind, and how long I will have this intellect, I do not know. But can I make that decision now? My life is too precious. And therefore, I take a decision that I'm going to pursue every moment so that Brahma Vidya becomes meaningful for me. That is what these sessions for mantra for resonance should. If it does not do that, look at this mantra. What does it say? Mantra number 7. Shravanayapi bahubiryo na labhyah shrunvanto api bahava yam na vidyuhu ascharya vakta kushalasya labda ascharya gnata kushalanushishtah. Shravanayapi, to be able to listen to something of Kathopanishad is extremely rare. To get Vedantic knowledge, to get a teacher to speak to about the Vedas is something rare. Now, Shrunvanti Api, even though I have been listening to it, how many of us have been able to understand what the teacher is really trying to say? So, first rarity, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Of among the thousands of human beings, about 1 in 1,000 or 1 in a million come for. And among them, 1 in 1,000 is able to understand that. Now, Ascharya Vakta Kushalaya Labda. Now, to get a teacher is a wonder. Now, if any student is able to understand this mantra number 7 says, it is a wonder if somebody is able to understand. But tell me, is it possible? Can I see myself as a possibility thinker that in my life, Brahma Vidya becomes very clear? Now, if you really want it, and that is what the second Valli will tell you, In your heart, let that desire arise. I want Brahma Vidya. If that Tivra Mumukshutva comes, you will get a teacher who is able to convey this idea so clearly to you, and therefore your life is going to be Danya. Now, what is this Atma that we are looking for? All of us, whether we are looking for Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshana, all of us are indirectly looking for something limitless. And that limitless thing is actually within ourselves. That is why when you go to that Ratha Kalpana, it looks like an outward journey. It looks like the chariot, the driver and the horses. Then he talks about my sense organs and the sense objects and the mind and the intellect and the mahat, and then avyaktam and then purusha. See, it looks like we're going from one level, but the real understanding, I am looking for myself. The seeker is the sought. The journey is not an external journey. It is to see myself as Purnamada Purnamidam. And this is possible only if you have Ananya Prokta. Ananya Prokta means a teacher who is one with Brahman. Prokta means teacher. Ananya Prokta Agatir Atra Nasti. If you get a teacher who is Ananya, who is not apart from Brahman, your gati is decided. That means you're not going to get agati. You're not going to go in the wrong path. So you will get the right path. So what is important is proper teacher. And if you can get a proper teacher, so this cannot be taught by an incompetent teacher. It has to be taught by someone who is Brahman himself, because this is such a difficult topic. Aniyan, it's very subtle. It is not something that you can go through by reasoning. And very fortunately, we have got an extraordinary teacher, and who is none other than a Brahmanishta, who is a Shrotriya, who is able to communicate, who comes from a parampara. Very important. A guru is not a person. A guru is a tattva. A guru represents Sadashiva Samarambha, and the one who connects you to the extraordinary. And when we have such an extraordinary teacher, Brahma Vidya is a natural byproduct in our own life. Meditate on this mantra. Ananyas chintayanto ma ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. When we are going to the path of Shreyas, you are a little worried about what happens to my yogakshema. Am I neglecting my yogakshema? So, remember this verse, Ananyas chintayantoma. Ananya. That means there is no other. Nobody else is there in my mind other than Bhagavan. When I think of no one else means I don't look at wealth for security. I don't look at family for security. I don't look for anybody else. Somebody has very nicely said, you will understand what this Ananya Chintayanto Ma is if you are going on a certain pilgrimage to a far off place. Okay, you're going to a pilgrimage to a far off place without any money in your pocket. All right, when you are going and you have to trust on Ananya Chintayanto Ma. Now, for us, we have booked our tickets, we have booked our hotel, we have booked our guide, we have booked, and after that also we pray. Now, can you see the quality of a prayer when a person is traveling to a sacred place where he's going without money? We do not know how you will travel, where you will get food, and when your security is, that is that kind of that has been demonstrated. See, this is looks practically impossible, but this mantra is talking about that quality of a person. I will conclude in one or two mantras only, because I will leave it for the next class. I began by saying, Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushya. Now, meanwhile, the entire second Valli, and this happened in mantra 20, and the rest of the first Valli, Yamadharmaraja tempts him, and then he finds out that this Nachiketa means all of us deserve Brahma Vidya. So the teacher now is talking about the greatness of Brahma Vidya, the greatness of the teacher, the greatness of the student, and so on. And then when Yamadharmaraja, when Nachiketa gets an opportunity, he speaks of this mantra. This mantra is a Brahma definition mantra. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat krita kritat, anyatra bhutascha bhavyascha, yat tat paschasi tat vada. Tat vada, he says, please tell me. Yat tat paschasi, what is that which you can clearly see? Tell me from your own direct experience. Tell me something. This is what is called aparokshataya. That comes from your direct experience. I want to know something beyond dharma and adharma. Something asmat krita akrita. Krita means cause. Krita means effect. Akrita means cause. So I want to know something beyond cause and effect. Something beyond Bhutat and Bhavyat, something beyond the past and the future. That means something beyond time. Now, this is the definition of Atma, because Atma is beyond Dharma and Adharma. It is beyond cause and effect. It is beyond 3 periods of time. And so, at this time, he gives the teacher, the Brahma Vidya Acharya, a very specific guideline. Yamadharmaraja answers. And this is the answer to his question. He says, Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amanante. What do all the Upanishads and the Vedas say? Tapapikam Sarvani Yadvatanti. So, what are all the austerities and the practices they recommend? Yad Ichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti. That because of which people pursue Brahma Vidya through a path of Brahmacharya. Tatte padam sangrahena bravimi om yetat. If I have to tell you briefly what is that, in one symbol I will tell you, that is Om. So Omkara represents Brahma Vidya. And then he gives some beautiful mantra, Yetad alambanam sreshtam, glory about Omkara. I will conclude with this mantra. This mantra is something that we need to meditate, something that we need to understand, because very often we ask this question. Nachiketa has asked this question, where is this answer? Shri Krishna has used this mantra in the Bhagavad Gita. Na jayate mriyate va vipaschit. The word vipaschit is a very important word. He's talking about that vipaschit. Vipaschit means consciousness. You are able to listen to the silence when I don't speak. You are able to listen to my words because of vipaschit. Vipaschit means consciousness. That consciousness, na jayate na mriyate. That means you as consciousness have been there from the very beginning, and you are not, as consciousness, are not going to die. That consciousness because of which you are able to interact is the real you. Nayam kutaschinna bahuva kaschit. It has neither come from something or nothing comes out of it. So it is neither the cause nor the effect. So you will see Anyatra Dharma, Anyatra Dhamma has already answered here. Ajaha, it is unborn. Nityaha, it is eternal. Sashvataha, Puranaha. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. And therefore it does not die when the body dies. So the body is only an instrument. You are Atma. Now you have had an interaction. He has given you this answer. For 1 week, meditate on this one mantra and see what is the meaning it says. Our teacher Swami Paramarthananda speaks about consciousness, not part of my body. It is not a product of my body. It is a separate entity which enlivens my body. Consciousness is not an adjective of my mind, but consciousness is a substance. It is the real me. That consciousness na jayate mriyate. It does not undergo modifications like asti jayate. It does not arise from anything. It is not a product of anything. And this is what he's talking about, is what Swamiji talks every time about: consciousness, not part, product, property. And that consciousness is what? It is my real nature. From today, if you have understood this mantra, claim this mantra as I am of the nature of consciousness. And this consciousness is eternal. It is not limited to my body, as this mantra says, it is all pervading. Because of that consciousness, my body is alive and my body is able to interact with this world. That consciousness that I am is the only source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. And I am not affected by anything that happens to my body or to the world around me, because as consciousness, I am of a higher order of reality. And if I remember this, I attain to a state of Jivan Mukti. If I forget this, I become a samsari. Remember this? Will you remember? And what does it say? I am Atma. I am of the nature of eternal, all-pervading consciousness. I, as Atma, am the only source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. I enliven this body, and through this body, experience this universe. I, as Atma, am not affected by anything that happens to this body or any problem that happens to the world around me. If I forget my real nature, my life becomes a samsari, the life becomes a burden. And if I remember this all the time, I'm a Jivan Mukta. Let us conclude with this and let us see all this. Now, how to understand this? Go in front of a mirror. And when you go in front of your mirror and when you see yourself in the mirror, now see yourself through the mirror and try to discover that seer. Now, today we have cameras with selfie. So you take a picture of yourself. And when you take a picture of yourself, don't see your body, don't see your mind, but see that seer. Seeing the seer is the quintessence of Atma Vidya. That means seeing the hearer. You're listening to me. Now, can you become the listener? Can you become that Atma Tattva? That is the meaning of the word Vipaschit. The rest we will see in the next class. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Sir, Shatakoti pranams to you. You have given us so many aspects to contemplate and imbibe to. Dear seekers of the truth, let us gather again in Satsanga on Friday, 10th October at 6:45 p.m. for the 10th session of Panchadashi, Tattva Viveka, to continue the enquiry into the self. The Jiva mistakenly identifies with both mind and body, but in truth, the self is the unaffected witness consciousness, Sakshi. Vidyaranya in these verses 37 to 40 gives the application of Anvaya Vyatireka in Jivatma Paramatma Viveka. Friends, let us now chant the Shanti Mantra and conclude this session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.